sounds harsh, doesn't it? No one cares, work harder. But sometimes the truth is harsh, and the truth is exactly what you need to hear. Because the world doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care how tired you are, how hard your life has been, or how many obstacles stand in your way. The world rewards one thing: results, the illusion of sympathy. We grow up thinking that if we struggle enough, if we suffer enough, someone will come along and fix it. Someone will give us a break. Someone will see how hard it's been and say, "You've had it tough, so here's success." But that's not how life works. No one is coming to save you. The truth is, most people are too busy with their own problems to care about yours. And that's not cruel. That's reality. So you have a choice. You can sit there, hoping for someone to care enough to fix your life, or you can stand up and fix it yourself. Your excuses don't matter. Tired, so is everyone else. Broke, so is someone out there working 2 jobs and still finding time to chase their dreams. Busy, we all are. Your excuses might be valid, but they don't change the outcome. You could have every reason in the world to quit, but no one cares. Because excuses don't pay the bills. Excuses don't build legacies. Excuses don't make dreams come true. Work harder, the difference between winners and everyone else. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not privilege, timing, or connections. The difference is this: winners show up when they don't feel like it. They work when no one's watching. They grind when there's no applause, no recognition, no guarantee. While others are busy explaining why they can't, winners are too busy doing it. Step 1, kill the victim mentality. The moment you start thinking life is unfair, you lose. Because life is unfair. It's unfair for everyone. Some people start with more, some with less. But success doesn't care about where you started. It cares about where you're going. The second you stop feeling sorry for yourself, you gain power. Not over the world, over yourself. And that's where real strength comes from. Step 2, stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is a luxury. You don't need it. You don't wait for motivation to brush your teeth. You don't wait for motivation to eat when you're hungry. You just do it. Because it's part of surviving. So why do you treat your dreams any differently? Why do you act like chasing your potential is optional? It's not. Show up. Do the work. No matter how you feel. Step 3, get obsessed with progress. Forget perfection. Forget being the best. Just get better. Every day, 1 inch closer. 1 rep stronger. 1 mistake wiser. 1 step further. Small wins stacked over time create unstoppable momentum. And once you fall in love with progress, you won't need anyone to care. Because you'll care. Step 4, let your results speak. You don't need to tell people how hard you're working. You don't need validation. You don't need sympathy. You need results. When you succeed, people notice. When you win, people respect you. When you achieve, people suddenly care. But by then, it won't matter to you because you'll have already done it. Without their permission, without their approval, without their applause, no one cares about your struggles. But that's your advantage. When you realize no one's coming to save you, you stop waiting, you stop expecting, you stop hoping someone will do the work for you, and that's when you become dangerous, because now you're the one in control. You decide how hard you work, you decide how far you go, you decide who you become. So stop looking for pity, stop waiting for permission, stop hoping someone will care. No one cares. Work harder, and when you do, you'll realize you never needed them to care anyway. Because you were always enough. You just had to prove it to yourself.
What's the biggest irrational fear that you have besides being unsuccessful? I guess not being enough or not being good enough. And I don't know who for. I don't know who I am scared of not being good enough for or enough for. But just that energy, that insufficient, unwanted, the sense that you always need to prove yourself, you always need to sort of offer the world something in order for it to love you back. The fear of not being enough driven an awful lot of what I've done, and I think it's very common for a lot of people. This the fear of abandonment, sense of always sort of being on the outside. The weird thing is that it is potent fuel to drive you to go and do some pretty magnificent things, but it's toxic if you use it for too long. So I'm working hard at trying to switch from diesel to electric in that regard.
How you spend your days is how you spend your life. If you are not prioritizing the daily actions necessary to achieve your goals, you will never arrive at where you would like to be. I mean, how can tomorrow be any better than today if you don't do anything different today? You will never change your life for the better unless you change something you do daily. So care less about results and more about your daily habits, because world-class results automatically follow world-class habits.
Take it from me. You can build up your body all you want. All the push-ups, all the sit-ups, all the weightlifting, all the running and cardio. But until you build your mind, until you build up your mind, you're just building a bigger, faster, stronger, subpar version of the person that you were created to be. I've never once looked at any loss as if I didn't have the right physical gifts. It was only the battle between my ears that I have lost at times. Seasons where I felt less than, seasons where I didn't believe in myself as much as I should, and really it all goes back to the work that we are doing inside of our mind. So you can build up the physical body all you want, but until you take ownership, extreme ownership of what's going on in the battle between your ears, then and only then will you become the person that you were created to be.
Many times, we block ourselves and we use these words almost like we're in a trance, like we're sleepwalking through life, that we find ways to cancel out our dreams. And I think that but is a dream killer, that a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of places we would like to go, a lot of things we would like to experience, and we just stop at but. And we build a case. In fact, but is an argument for our limitations. And when we argue for our limitations, we get to keep them. But will cause you to hide out behind fear, but will cause you to come up with all type of excuses that you can validate your inaction and not acting on your dream.
Your future is going to be what you make of it. If you want to be great at something, you're going to have to put all your commitment and effort and discipline into doing just that. Things aren't handed to you as you get older. In fact, the things that I actually work for the most, that's what I valued the most.
Until you make a decision that you no longer want to feel how you feel, or you no longer want to think the way that you think, or you no longer want to have the kind of results or no results that you have, until you make that decision that, you know what? I know I don't feel great. I know I doubt myself. I know I've had a lot of bad things happen. I know there's a lot that I regret, but damn it, with the time that I have left in my life, I really want to start to enjoy myself. I want to take better care of myself. I want to feel happy. You don't even have to believe you deserve it yet. You could just want it. You've got to start there. You've got to start with wanting something better for yourself. And then I personally think the most important thing is to start acting like the person who has the things that you want right now, even though you don't feel like it.
Well, let's say you've got a kid and you want the kid to improve. You don't set them a bar that's so high that it's impossible for them to attain it. You take a look at the kid and you think, okay, this kid's got this range of skill. Here's a challenge we can throw at him or her that exceeds their current level of skill, but gives them a reasonable probability of success. It's like, well, I don't know how to start improving my life. Someone might say that. And I would say, well, you're not aiming low enough. There's something you could do that you are regarding as trivial, that you could do, that you would do, that would result in an actual improvement. But it's not a big enough improvement for you, so you won't lower yourself enough to take the opportunity.
So instead of people living in fear, feeling stressed out, feeling powerless, feeling like victims, I think it should be a time that we need to begin to look at ways that we can become an active force in our own lives. Look at ways when we can decide to take charge of our own destiny. Look at ways when we can decide to design a life of substance and begin to truly live our dreams.
You should never ignore the way you feel, but don't you dare allow the way you feel to keep you from showing up. If you're overwhelmed, go to the gym overwhelmed and just try your best. If you're sad, cook a healthy dinner for yourself with tears rolling down your face. When life becomes too much, the last thing you need is to abandon yourself. I will never tell you to be distracted from what's going on with you. So please give yourself the courage to maintain the best version of yourself, even in the hardest moments.
What are you saving yourself for? I get it. This workout is hard. This training is hard. This practice is hard. This workday is hard. And you're getting to that point where you're feeling extremely challenged. And so you decide to hold back, to reserve some of that energy, to reserve some of that effort. I'm going to save it. But what are you saving it for? What are you saving yourself for? You're going to go to sleep that night. You're going to get to restore that energy. So why would you not empty out everything you can possibly give in the day? Why wouldn't you push yourself to your absolute limits? Those willing to risk going too far can possibly find out how far one can go. So when you get tired, when you get to that point where you feel like stopping because it's challenging, what are you saving yourself for?
I'm not motivated. I'm obsessed with every part of the process. I've romanticized every aspect of it. The process of understanding who I am,
what I'm here to do and how to do it. And I put it in simple terms on purpose because I've found that the more words you use to describe something so deeply complex, the more you water it down. I know at least part of you understands, not because we live a similar life, not because we share the same beliefs, but because we both possess a soul that comes from the same origin. The soul is what allows us to feel at the deepest level. It translates what is beyond our capability to logically process and allows us to feel it in its purest form. I am obsessed because I feel life. I am immersed in it because I believe evil disguises itself in your own thoughts. It will whisper that your vision is too unorthodox, too far-fetched to be real, and it will make you believe that doubt is your own. But what is pure to the soul, what resonates at the deepest level, needs no rationalization, no analysis, no justification. It only needs to be accepted, felt, and embraced. When you do this, when you surrender what is true within you, you will be guided, not by temptation, not by deception, not by the manipulation of evil, but by the undeniable pull of your soul.
Do you not understand that the more comfortable you get, the more uncomfortable life gets? The less action you take, the more consequences you have. The more you let those bills pile up, the less work you put in, the more food you eat, the fatter you get. All these things are gonna start piling up on you, bro. And bro, I know you weren't built to be average. You were built to have riches. You were built to have the body you want, the physique that you want, the dreams that you want. You were built to have these things, and yet you're content with being average. At the end of the day, the keys are in your hands, bro. It's on you to go make that shit count.
I can't say this enough. Stop waiting. You could get hit by a bus next week. Do not waste your life waiting, worrying, or wishing for things to change. You gotta want it enough to do the work. Your dreams have a brick path that will get paved every single day, one brick at a time. Stop killing your potential by thinking and doubting. You guys have dreams, you got a world to change, you got money to make. Get your butts out there and go do it.
The answer of when should I is almost always right now. Nobody has been happy that they've sat on something that's been eating away at them in the history of life. The answer's now.
There is no competition in being successful because everyone else is preoccupied with being a professional at making excuses. Eating healthy is not expensive, but people lie to themselves to the bitter end about that, all just to avoid a bit of effort. Everyone's got 30 minutes to an hour a day to set aside and work out, but God forbid we put some time into being a little bit uncomfortable. We know exactly what to do to be better. And we know exactly what successful people did to get to where they are. And if you happen to be a part of the 1% that actually follow suit, congrats on the free pass to the top.
Bro, start over. Just start over. It's a brand new day. It doesn't matter who you were yesterday or last week or last month or last year. It doesn't matter if people know you to be a certain person or to have certain personality traits. Who do you want to be today? What personality traits do you want to have today? What do you want to value today? What a lot of people don't realize is that at any point, you can just change who you are. You can go from being selfish to being selfless. You can go from being undisciplined to being disciplined. You can go from being a complete asshole to being kind. All of that is a choice. All of that is within your power. 0 people on earth are stopping you from doing that. It is your own discomfort. It is your own unwillingness to change. You are the only person stopping you from embodying the traits you want to embody and being the person that you ultimately want to be. There's a lot of shit you have no control over. This is one of the things you do. If you are not behaving like the person you want to be, and you are not doing the things that the person you want to be would do, that is on you. So if you don't like what's going on, start over.
See, the thing about life, we're gonna die, right? Eventually we're gonna die, but our legacy will live on. The impact can be non-perishable forever, but it's gotta be built right. Or we gotta take advantage of the time we have right now. If you want it bad enough, you find a way. If you don't want it bad enough, you find an excuse. Just like life itself, man. You go after things. You triumph. Even if you fail, you get back up. And you continue to try and fail, continue to try and fail. And ensuring you never fail to try. Because nothing's impossible. It's just a spelling of impossible. It's spelled impossible.
People want their life to be free of struggle and conflict. They want a smooth path in front of them. When you face adversity or things aren't going quite well, you have to reassess who you are. You have to reassess your opinions. You have to say, maybe I'm not doing this the right way. Maybe my patterns of responding in the past aren't working out. Maybe there's something wrong with me. How can I learn from this moment? How can I get past this particular obstacle? If you never have failure, if you never have conflict, you are never going to develop yourself in life. So conflict is something you must welcome as a test and a challenge and a way to strengthen yourself up, because life is harsh, life is difficult. And if you're not tough in this world, you're going to have a life of pain.
Comfort zone is killing you, and it is painful to watch. And it's not even a big dramatic battle that you're losing, but a slow, silent, unnoticed death of your potential. And in some ways that's even more sad. It's like watching someone blow out a candle for the final time. No explosion, just darkness. Every time you hit snooze, every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you choose comfort over discipline, another piece of you fades. Until one day there is nothing left. No fire, no drive, just the sour aftertaste of regret and bitterness. But here's the thing, you're not dead yet. The flame is not out. You've still got fight left in you. And guess what? There is nothing better than a comeback story. Start now. Small steps every day. I promise you, as soon as you gain some momentum, it will get easier. Hell, it will become fun. Just promise me you will not let the flame go out.
This is the idea that most people walk down this path that isn't really theirs. They're handed this default path, this default definition of success, these default settings of meaning, and accept them as their own and march blindly down that path. And they wake up in 50 years and maybe wonder what the hell they just did with their one life that they got a shot at. You are the hero in your hero's journey. That is not a grandiose statement, that is true. You get one shot at all of this, so engage in something that matters to you.
I like it when the water is warm in the shower, but I built the muscle that allows me to turn it this way to make it cold, to build that muscle of doing the hard thing. I never want to go for the run. I like how I feel after. And I have to force myself to do it. I have to push myself to do it. And I've built the muscle that not just pushes myself to do it, but also pushes myself while I'm doing it to go further or to go faster. And it's that same muscle that I draw on when I find my attention wandering. You build this muscle, this discipline inside you that you can draw on. The Stoics would call this the command of oneself. Seneca says, no one is fit to rule who is not first master of themselves. The greatest empire is command of ourselves.
Confidence is not something you can fake. Arrogance is faked. It's people pretending to be somebody they're not or better than they are because they know they haven't done the reps. See, confident people don't have to walk around telling you they're ready because they look ready. You can just tell they're ready because they've actually gone through the reps and they truly are. Life is the same way as the battlefield. Challenges are coming. And if I do the reps, if I do the hard work before I get to those challenges, I'm going to be confident. And I'm going to be ready for those challenges. Now, I'm not going to go out and actually look for hard things to do. I'm going to try to do what I want to do and meet my goals, but it doesn't have to be harder just to make it feel like I've done more. But if they come, I want to be ready. And I get ready and I gain that confidence by doing the hard work when nobody else is willing to. By doing the hard work after hours, by getting up every single day knowing that if I go through the motions and the reps and the rehearsals, I can be ready and confident when challenges happen. When you do them now and you gain that confidence, that success is going to continue to grow. Go out every single day knowing you're ready for the fight or you're ready for the challenge because you've done the reps and you have the confidence, and let life bring it because you know you're gonna win.
We're not able to think. The most powerful weapon in the world, we walk around with it. It's our mind, it's our brain. You have to be able to go into a very dark place in your mind and figure who you are. Go back to what you want to do, what's your purpose. We can't figure our purpose out or why we're here or why we're even born or whatever because it's so loud in our mind. We don't have any quiet time with ourselves to sit back and say, what do I really want? There's so many different dialogues in our head that we can't think. So my biggest thing is you have to be alone in a very dark place in your mind to think about what is important to you.
It says in that manual, it says, other than death, all failure is psychological. Other than death, all failure is psychological. Think about that. Just think about that. This failure, this upset, this catastrophe. If you aren't dead, then it's just psychological. It's in your head. Now, this does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will.
The biggest trophy that I ever got in my entire life was really figuring out me. It's not about money. It's not about fame. It's not about being accepted by your peers and everybody else. It's about figuring out who I am and being happy with who I am. Even though I'm going to be judged for all these things.
Nobody understands you because how could they? If you spend your whole life trying to be like nobody else, work harder than the average person, care more than anybody else would, what makes you think they'll understand? What you're looking for is rare, and same goes for me. And it might sound like bad news that this understanding you're looking for isn't easy to come by, but that's exactly why you want it. You know you could have the run-of-the-mill life that's easy to get, but it's not fulfilling. So recognize that more value requires more responsibility, and that responsibility is genuinely something to cherish.
If you don't change what you're doing and how you do it, nothing else will change.
There are two versions of you, the one you are now and the one you could have been. The version of you that stayed disciplined, the version of you that didn't make excuses, the version of you that chased their potential, that used every hour wisely, that didn't let fear, doubt, or procrastination hold them back. Somewhere, in an alternate reality, that version of you exists. And the real question is, how far away are you from them? How much time have you wasted? How many hours, days, years have slipped through your fingers because you told yourself you'd start tomorrow? How many moments have you spent scrolling, avoiding, waiting? While that version of you was out there building, learning, growing. You don't get that time back. But you do have a choice.
Time is the one thing you can't get more of. You can make more money. You can rebuild relationships. You can recover from failures. But time, once it's gone, it's gone. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they have more of it than they do. They say, I'll get serious next year. I'll start working on my goals when I'm ready. I'll focus when the timing is right. And suddenly, years are gone. You look back and realize that the only thing stopping you from becoming who you were meant to be was you. The time was always there. You just chose to waste it.
The regret of wasted potential. If you could meet the version of yourself that never wasted time, how would that conversation go? Would they be stronger? Would they be wiser? Would they have the life you always dreamed of but never committed to? And more importantly, what would they say to you? Would they look you in the eyes and say, you had the same opportunities I had, the same hours in the day, the same potential, but I used mine, and you didn't. That's the kind of regret you don't want to live with. The regret of knowing that you could have been so much more if you had just stopped waiting. Stop lying to yourself. The most dangerous lie you tell yourself is, I have time. Number you have right now. That's it. The future isn't guaranteed. And even if you live a long life, every day that passes is one less day you have to become the version of yourself you were meant to be. You have to wake up. You have to get honest about the fact that every wasted moment is a choice. A choice to stay the same instead of grow. A choice to delay your potential. A choice to settle for a life that is less than what you're capable of.
You keep waiting for motivation. You keep waiting for the perfect moment. Let me tell you something. It's not coming. You will never feel fully ready. The perfect moment will never appear. The only way to become the version of you that doesn't waste time is to move before you feel ready, to take action before you feel like it. Because action creates momentum, and momentum destroys procrastination. Get ruthless. About your time, successful people, they don't have more hours in the day than you. They just protect their time like their life depends on it. Because it does. Look at your daily habits. Look at where your hours go. How much time are you spending on distractions? How much time are you spending complaining, scrolling, watching other people live their lives instead of living yours? Now imagine if you took back even half of that time and put it into building yourself instead. Who would you be a year from now? You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you already have.
Live with urgency. Most people don't realize how short life is until it's too late. They coast through life as if they're going to live forever. But the truth is, you don't have forever. If you knew you only had 1 year left to become the best version of yourself, how would you live? Would you waste time? Would you delay your goals? Or would you attack every single day like it was your last chance to become everything you were meant to be? Because the reality is, you don't know how much time you have. So start living like it's running out, because it is. Make the choice right now. At the end of the day, this is your life. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to force you to get serious. You either decide to become your greatest self, or you let time keep slipping away. Right now, in this moment, you have two choices. Stay the same. Keep wasting time. Keep waiting. Keep living beneath your potential. Commit right now, today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. Because the version of you that could have been, they're waiting for you. And every second you waste is another step further away from becoming them. Make the choice. Be who you were meant to be.
You are going to pay a price. Now, whether you pay that price now or whether you pay that price later, that price is going to be paid. Paying the price now means doing what you need to do right now to build that version of yourself that's going to create the life that you desire in the future. And there's a reward for paying that price up front. And then there's people who choose to pay it later. Those are people who say, I'm in my 20s. My 20s should be spent having fun. And those people pay a price, but they pay it later. Right now, they're having fun. Right now, they're carefree, but they're destroying their future. And by the time they get to be 35 or 40 or 50 years old, they're going to be pinned into an existence that they cannot tolerate.
But I have good news. Nothing hard lasts forever. There's only 3 things that can happen. You either quit, it gets easier, or you get better. So no matter what, it always ends. You only lose when you quit before you see it all the way through. And I think that's incredibly encouraging. So no matter how hard whatever it is that you're doing is, but no matter how hard it is, you either quit, it gets easier because something changes externally, or you get harder, something changes internally. But no matter what, it will end. Think about it like you're mining for gold, right? You're chiseling away underground and you've got this pile of gold. You don't know how far away it is, but it's underground and you're digging towards it. This difficulty of swinging the pickaxe can end when 1, you walk out of the mine and say. The second is that all of a sudden you hit a soft patch and then you're like, oh my God, I'm digging so much faster now. This is great. And then you get to the gold. Or you just start swinging the axe harder because you get more muscled, you get more efficient with your movements, and you just keep chiseling away, even if it goes from dirt to rock. You just keep chiseling away at a slower pace, but you eventually break through and get there. But in all 3 of those scenarios, hard doesn't last forever.
Everyone talks about balance. If you can balance your life, you're good. If you can make sure that your work and play are balanced, life isn't going to be about balance. You'll find that if you find someone that forces you to sit on the teeter-totter of life and you find your feet dangling, you'll have no solid ground. No, you're not here to take sides. You're here for the takeover. It's time for you to go after every one of your dreams in such a way that no one can question what it is you want. You want it all. Not for you, but just for everything that comes after you, for your bloodline and for those who had the right to trust your mind, those who understood that there was something different about you. You're doing it for them. For everyone that believes that no is an absolute, you have to break through and show them that on the way through all those no's is an absolute yes. But it must bring out your best. And if you're not willing to be tested, you're not willing to have a testimony. But if you can get a testimony, it means you have a story. And when you tell that story, here comes the glory.
For those of you out there going through tough times right now, facing adversity and some uncertainty in your life, I just want to remind you that you've had big goals, you've had big dreams, you've had big ambitions, and when God or the universe, whoever your higher power is about to set you up to achieve and receive those big goals, dreams, and ambitions that you've set yourself up for, he's got to first test you. He's got to first put you up against adversity. Adversity is the resistance that you build your mental and emotional and gratitude muscles against, right? We go to the gym, you work out, you build your physical muscles. Don't forget that we have to build our mental, emotional, and gratitude muscles so that when we receive the blessings, when we receive the good things that are to come, that you can appreciate them better. So the adversity you're experiencing now, there's a reason behind it. Keep pushing through and you will receive the benefits, but it's never on your timeline.
You know what's the worst thing for your heart and your mind is when you fail, when you get rejected, when you fall, is to complain about it. Because now what you did is you just gave complaining life. And it's funny, when you give complaining life, what does it do? It attracts other individuals that complain.
Find meaning in the struggle, and the struggle will become meaningful. Find meaning in the challenge, and you'll start to become grateful for the challenges that arise in your life. And what's the meaning? The meaning is to develop you into the best version of yourself. The meaning is for you to grow and evolve. Find that meaning in everything that you go through. And it's not always going to make sense to you on why you're going through this certain thing. Finding meaning does not mean making sense of it. So often when we try to make sense of everything that happens to us, we create more resistance, more frustration. embrace it and find meaning in it. So I'm going to embrace what this is. But I'm open to learning. I'm open to the growth. I'm open to the shifts that can come from this. And I'm gonna assign meaning to the situation as an opportunity for me to develop.
A lot of people are unclear what they want from life. They don't sit down and think through. We are writing our own life story every day, and yet we don't think about it. Who do we want to be? Where do we want to live? What life do we want to lead? When we've finished our life, come to the end of our life and look back, what do we want to say that we've done? What do you want is a very powerful question. It says, I want to be the best, Bill. Fine. You've got to pay a price to be the best. The best pay a big price. You've got to work harder. You've got to commit more. You've got to take more responsibility. You've got to deal with more ups and downs. And if we can deal with that question, how much are you willing to suffer? How badly do you want it?
There is power in a number, even if it's just one. If you find yourself walking alone without support, it is not because you've been abandoned. It is because you've chosen to go the narrow route of life. The narrow route of life means that you're willing to go where others will not. And what you'll find is that people will tell you, no, don't go, until someone notices that you're making headway. And then all of a sudden, you make a way for them. Now there's two. But if you continue to go, you'll find that the crowd increases because you're going against the crease. You're making a way out of no way. You are a trailblazer. You are an impact person. You are a person with dreams and aspirations, and you'll look up and you'll see there's three. Then all of a sudden, here comes a community. You see, leaders will go alone for only a while before people notice there's something different about you. Stay different, stay engaged, stay so totally focused on your dreams that you purify them. By purify them, it means you have to go through fire. And if you find yourself nearly losing absolutely everything, you know that you're down to your second win. And if you ever get that, you're destined to win. Don't ever throw in the towel. Use it to leave trails behind for others to follow, because you're a leader.
The most important thing I have found in people that I see as being very successful is a relentless desire to win. You see, the word relentless means that there is nothing that's going to get into their way that's going to keep them from getting up the next day and going after that dream or going after that goal. They have a relentless spirit that when life knocks them down, when they're getting tested on their journey to get to that goal or whatever that prize is, when they're getting knocked down, that relentless spirit gets them back up. You see, they understand that you have to be tested before you can provide testament. You have to actually be challenged along the way so that when you get to the victory, you can turn around and help people understand how you got there, actually train them and coach them on doing the same thing. You want to be tested. But if you're going to get through that, you have to have that relentless desire to win. The relentless desire to win will get you through those things. It will get you up every single time that you get knocked down. People are going to criticize you along the way. They're going to tell you why you can't get there. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough money. You don't have the tools or the skills or whatever it is. People are going to criticize you along the way and tell you that. You see, their opinion or their inability to see you winning is not your problem. Use that relentless spirit, and it's not something you're born with. You can gain that relentless spirit. It's a choice. Every single day, do I get up and I go after it again today, or do I sit back and complain about being tested? Now, the relentless spirit takes that test and turns it into testimony. They see that critic as a person that doesn't matter unless they also would take their advice. They drive forward every single day and relentlessly pursue the person they know that they can be. Find that relentless spirit in your dreams.
The kite represents your dreams, your goals, your desired results, your projected outcome. The wind represents an opposition in all things, lack of capital, negative family members, and bad influence from your friends. People who say, get your head out of the clouds, stop dreaming. whatever that opposition in all things is a reality.
Most people don't go and they don't chase their dreams because the people around them tell them shit that just isn't true. Hey, be realistic. What do you think you're gonna do? Become J.K. Rowling? You had a great career. You need to be thankful. Don't forget where you came from, right? We hear all this shit every day from a bunch of losers, and it gets in our heart and our mind, and it causes us to hesitate. So your goal here is to realize that we only have one existence, we only have one opportunity, and you need to ask yourself, what are you gonna value at the end of your life? Are you gonna value the work that you did? Are you gonna value the things that you created? Or are you gonna value doing what everybody else expected of you?
If I'd have allowed conformists to project their small thinking onto my life, it's almost terrifying to think about where I would be in my life right now. Peace is really finally understanding who you are and whose you are. And so you're not a conformist. That's what cowards do. Prosperity is a birthright of yours. I don't just mean wealth. Prosperity is a right to feel prosperous, to feel as if you're growing, to feel as if you're expanding. And when you are tapping into those parts of you and changing the way you behave, you're going to begin to like you a lot more. You're going to begin to love you a lot more. We do not attract into our lives what we really desire. We attract into our lives who and what we are. And long term, human beings find a way to be consistent about what they believe about themselves. You can have a new identity at any time you want in your life. You were born to do something great with your life, and it already exists within you.
Imagine if I told you right now, you are 24 no's away from having $1 billion company. How excited would you be to get your first no? How fast would you want to get your second no? There's only so many no's in between you and what you want.
You know, the undisputed first law of personal growth is this, that people will never rise above the opinion of themselves. You see, when we're able to start addressing things like our unconscious programming, when we start to create the best habits that we can by programming ourselves consciously, when we start grabbing that compass needle and bringing it over to the right direction so that the 95% of the time we're sleeping awake, we're able to be who we need to be, that's when we can start to achieve the real game in town, which is self-mastery. See, before you spend another penny on workshops or skills or anything, work on yourself. See, mastering the game of self throughout human history has been the #1 recommendation of virtually everybody that achieved it and then preached the benefits of it to people that usually weren't listening. But by mastering our sense of self, we're able to walk into a room where everything's descending into chaos and retain our center. When everything's breaking down around us with the eye of the storm, and it's like, move, I'll handle it. See, that's the best way that you'll be able to handle uncertainty. And when we commit to self-mastery, we give ourselves the best shot of becoming the best and greatest versions of ourselves that we can be.
Is positive action. Positive action means get going, get busy, take action, do something. Everything that we ever learn is merely a prelude to action. And the more action you take, the faster you move, the more ground you cover, the more energy you have, the faster you move, the more positive you are, the faster you move, the more people you see, the faster you move, the more you learn, the faster you move, the more successful you are. You don't find any successful slow people. All successful people are fast moving. In fact, a sense of urgency is sometimes the critical quality that can make all the difference in your success. If you see a good thing to do, move quickly, move now, go, go, go.
It's not easy. It can be tremendously difficult. It's easier to quit. It's easier to succumb. It's easier to give in. But to go forward, that's tremendously difficult. You have to be bold to do that, to say, no, this is not where I'm going to be.
Because this life is not here to make you suffer.
This life is here to make you understand what is your potential. Maybe there is something bigger that you can become. But in this lifetime, there is something else for you to achieve. This is also meaning, discover your potential. But if you are stuck on, no, this is what I want, I worked so hard for it, now it's failing, I try it again, it can mean that you are just wasting lifetime. It can happen.
1 year from today, you are either going to be thanking yourself or kicking yourself. 1 year from today, you are either going to be saying, thank God I spent my time doing that, or I wish I spent my time doing that. 1 year from today, you are either going to thank yourself for working hard, staying disciplined, being consistent, eliminating bad habits and adopting good habits, or you're going to be kicking yourself for spending another year doing nothing, another year not chasing your goals, another year not being who you know you can be, another year wasted. So what's it gonna be 1 year from today? Are you gonna thank yourself for choosing the path that so few choose to go down, the path of discipline, the path of consistency, the path of most resistance? Or are you gonna go down the path that you've gone down every other year, the path of mediocrity?
When you decide to level up, don't expect applause. The truth is, your growth will make some people uncomfortable. Not because you've changed, but because they haven't. People fear what challenges their own comfort. So let them question it. Let them doubt it. Your path isn't meant to make sense to anyone else but you. The hardest part of becoming uncommon isn't the work. It's outgrowing people who choose to settle. So keep going, because you don't need permission to live the life that you deserve.
What you said you were going to do, that's all that matters in life. If you do what you say you're going to do, your self-image increases. When you do what you say you're going to do, you will be happier, you will be healthier, you will be harder to kill. When you do what your contract says, when you sign on the dotted line, you show up early, you do your hard work, you do what needs to be done, you're gonna get pats on the back, you're gonna get positive reinforcement, you're gonna get smiles instead of smirks. And quite frankly, these days, boys and girls, there are so many people who are not willing to do what they say they were going to do that it's actually easier to be successful these days than it was 50 years ago. The level of work ethic has continued to go down and down and down, so use that as an opportunity to be the person that stands out.
If tomorrow was not a guarantee, how far would you push? If you thought that today was your last opportunity to ever do the thing, how far would you go? If today was the last day you were ever going to work out, to ever be able to train for a certain event, how far would you push? How far would you go? How fast would you run? How much would you sacrifice knowing you're never going to lace it up again? How hard would I hit? Like, how hard would I go? Like, what does 100% look like? And a lot of people never touch it. They never understand their full capability, their full threshold, because they never reach it. They've never sit down, they've never connected mind and body and go, like, what is absolutely everything? I feel like I did it for a long time. I'd save it for tomorrow. Like, I'd save it for the next time. Like, I'm gonna save a little in the tank. What if you never have an opportunity to use anything in that tank ever again? What if today's the last time you're ever gonna do it?
It's your dream. It don't belong to nobody else. You take ownership of it. It ain't nobody else's. Don't nobody owe you nothing. Ain't nobody supposed to give you nothing. It's yours.
If you turned on the news to see that an asteroid would wipe out Earth in 12 hours, and there wasn't a thing you could do about it, what would you do? Of course, it would be reasonable to panic at first. But I mean, after some time, would you continue to be in denial? Running around frantically, searching for a solution that simply didn't exist? Or would you accept it? Break out a chair, head to a spot with a nice view, play your favorite song, and watch it all unfold. Acceptance is a beautiful thing, you know? It allows you to see the beauty in things, even amid the chaos. Many of us spend our days in distress, worrying about what is simply out of our control. You carry the weight of the world on your back, anxious, almost in a state of paranoia, and it is taking away your ability to truly enjoy life, when really, whether you worry or not, the outcome is not affected. So you might as well find a sense of comfort in the fact that whatever your asteroid is beyond your reach. And it's funny, when you do that, it allows you to actually focus on the things that are your health, your profession, your passions. We so easily lose sight of these things when what's out there is weighing on our mind. We cannot have that, because our vision, our goals and aspirations, our family, our future wife or husband and children, and the generations to come after them are affected by the decisions that we make today. Therefore, it is essential that we are able to accept what is beyond our reach and bring our focus and attention to what is. Enjoy this experience, my friend. Do away with the mental burden. Hell, even smile when it all goes wrong.
How you handle that dark forest, how you handle that dark moment determines everything. And you want to know the people that go from good to great to unstoppable? They didn't run from that dark moment. They don't think about that dark moment as they get older, but they never forget. And when you never forget, that internal fire never goes out. It never, never goes out.
The Stoic philosopher is the man who has liberated himself from fear. He's not afraid of death. He's not afraid of pain. He's not afraid of other people's dismissal as a fool. The only thing he cares about is that he should meet his moral obligations. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that greatness is the perception that virtue is enough, which is an elegant and beautiful line, because all of the Stoics basically believe that. Virtue, moral virtue, an organized soul which pursues rationally the ends which are good for all human beings. They finally understand their greatness consists in the fact that they perceive that virtue is enough. We do not need wealth. We do not need life itself. If moral virtue tells us that we must die in the pursuit of some good end, the protection of our family, the protection of our home, the protection of the innocent, in the doing of right, nothing should be spared, not even our lives.
You said I was ready. You are. Ready for what? To face yourself. I've done that already. You've only glanced at the reflection, never stepped through the mirror and what's on the other side. Everything you've buried, waiting to be seen. What if I don't like what I find? You won't. But that does not change its existence. I'm afraid. Okay? I know. Fear has shaped you, chained you, defined you. But it is not your prison. What else would it be? A key.
You're much better than you think you are, and you need to remember that most of the doubt and most of the things that you struggle with were installed in you by people around you who have already given up on what their life could have been, and they want you to do so as well because it makes them feel more comfortable about their mediocre existence. You don't really have limits. You have what you have been told your limits are, and you have chosen to believe that those are your limits, and that's why you have this problem going for the things you really want and instead going for the things that are more realistic.
If you want the future to change for you, you've got to change. If you don't change, the next 6 years of your life is going to be just like the last 6. You'll still be behind on your bills. You'll still be behind on your promises. If you will change, everything will change for you. If you will get better, everything will get better for you. If you'll change your philosophy, if you'll change your habits, if you'll refine your thinking, if you'll change and accept some new disciplines, if you'll turn the corner where you've been in the past, go for a new life for the future, all kinds of remarkable things will happen for you if you will change.
I didn't fail, I fell. And as long as I get up, I win.
The man who never fell has no glory. The man who fell and got back up, that's where his glory is.
Failure is part of the formula for success. So you learn, you make mistakes, You get better, you make more advanced mistakes.
As long as you get up, you win. The winning isn't getting up. So many people think they failed. They didn't fail. They stopped. You stopped.
The man who fell 20 times and got up 21 times, that man has even greater glory. Wow. That man has more courage, way more courage than the guy who was so strong from birth that he never failed. There's no glory in that.
Fail as much as humanly possible.
Don't be afraid of failing, because there's nothing wrong with failing. You have to fail in order to climb that ladder.
You're gonna die never even trying to reach your full potential. And how's that gonna feel? If you wrote a book right now about your life and you gave it to someone, would it change their life for the better? If not, you gotta get to work.
It's Murphy's Law. When things go wrong, they always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. And it's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten when you're faced with all those issues and all those problems, and they all hit you at the same time. But let me tell you, that doesn't mean give up. In fact, it means the opposite. It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in. It means it's time for you to go on the warpath.
But there will be the moment when the only person left to rely on is yourself. It is therefore my first suggestion to question and ask yourself, how can I learn to properly navigate without guidance? Now just take a moment to imagine you're the captain on a ship located on the vast ocean. What you are facing is stormy weather, dark and heavy clouds, and the ship is carried along the up and downs of the waves. In such a situation, I strongly trust that it is not enough to purely rely your actions on intellectual knowledge. To sharpen the senses and being able to see possibilities beyond what the eyes are able to see. This truly is a sign of right knowledge.
If you can list the up things that have happened in your life and you can put that on a list, and you've somehow made it past all of this to be in a position where you can still go make some stuff happen, that's what you have in common with every hero of every story, of every autobiography, is how much happened to you that should have broke you, that did not break you, so that you were able to then ride.
What's the heaviest thing that you carry around with you? The heaviest thing you carry around with you constantly is your feelings. Where do you carry your feelings? In your heart. So before you can delete the mind, you got to delete here. Think about every time your heart was broken. What happened? It opened your eyes.
If you do not have clear goals for your life, you are condemned forever to work for those who do. You see, in life, it's very simple. Either you are working toward the accomplishment of your goals, or you're working toward the accomplishment of other people's goals.
If you can be honest with yourself about what you truly want and take responsibility for creating it, you will. You don't have to be special. You just have to get up every day, put one foot in front of the other, and work hard to do a little better than you were yesterday. And one of these days, you are going to wake up and realize that you not only changed yourself, But you are now in the middle of living the life you were once jealous of.
And then you get started. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is. And these challenges that you face, they're gonna do their best to take you down. Do not let them. Stand up, dig in. Line up those problems and confront them, face them, fight them. Do not let them bring you down. In fact, let those challenges raise you up. Let them elevate you. Let their demands and their trials make you stronger.
You know exactly what you need to do. Stop pretending like you don't know. You continuously scroll on the internet looking for more answers, looking for more information, looking for another way to inspire yourself to move in the direction you already know you want to move in. You're completely wasting your time. You are looking for a substitute for action. You are looking for a way around action, but there isn't one. The only way forward is action.
This is about finishing the race. When you have a goal in mind and a goal set in your head, never let anyone take you off your vision, take you off your goal. Never let any man or any woman steal your glory, steal your future, steal your dreams. Never let anybody bring you down. You are somebody.
The safe road is going to pay off. There are many payoffs to it, but I can't be there and have my soul be on a completely different track. It's always worth losing. It's always worth risking.
So in the future, you look back at these struggles and you say to them, thank you. You made me better.
You know, Winston Churchill said many years ago, history will be kind to me for I intend to write it. A heartbreak, a breakup, parents getting a divorce, a fight, getting bullied. All of these things then make you because of those experiences. Now, when that happens, you are gonna do one of three things. You know the whole flight, freeze, or fight. Now, you know what freeze happens, nothing happens. Flight, nothing's happened. But fight, that part is born during those moments. What if I get asked a question that I don't have the answer to? One of the scariest things about life is a question. The scary question can shake a soul up because no one's asked that question from you. If you don't ask the questions of what you want to do next, the world is going to put you in the box on what you have to do next. And you are rising up to their expectations because you're not asking the questions yourself. What life do you want to live? And why do you want to live this life? Why is it important to you? Why is it worth you putting through all these hours? Why would you want to do that? That's transition when you go through it. And then the pressure part, when you said, here's who I'm going to be, where you declare your intentions to the world. This is what I'm going to be doing. A lot of times we keep things a secret. I think declaring intention serves a purpose. I think when you go out there and you say, this is what I'm going to be doing, this is where I'm going to be at, you officially have the world holding you accountable. That pressure could be good pressure to put into your life. The identity goes from being a regular person to the next day, no one recognizes them. Haters highlight your weaknesses. And if you're smart, you're like, he makes a good point. Hey, one day I'm going to make so much money, I'm going to shut everybody up. That doesn't work. First of all, that's not going to take place. So you have a choice. Either you can say, I don't want to deal with divorce, live a small life. But if you can't live a small life and you have to live a big life, you have to understand that it's going to be pushed. And you have to figure out a way to silence everybody. Anticipation is gain. The more you tell the world how to manage expectations dealing with you and what to anticipate, you actually minimize a lot of the noise. We don't take the time to say, what are the values and principles that I'm willing to build my life on? And what really are they? What are you willing to really stand up for? You know, what is your core belief system? You got to go really deep with purpose, and really deep with, if you don't move, what could take place. For people to sit there and realize, if you really want to move yourself, ask the questions, go deeper on what life could happen, both good and bad, happen to both of them, and hopefully that creates urgency for you to start taking the next necessary steps. The gift of imagination and visualization is rarely used properly.
What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? How big would you play if you knew that you can survive any heartbreak, any breakdown, any betrayal? What would you do if the things that you were afraid of you knew were absolutely nothing? They were all opportunities for you to get stronger in your faith, stronger in your resiliency. What would you do? Who would you love? How big would you play? Where would you leap? And the bigger question is, how would the world benefit differently? How would the world benefit differently because who you've decided to be? How would the world be a better place to live because fear didn't have you standing on the edge? What would you do if you were told that you get to do it afraid? That you don't have to wait for the fear to leave? That when you get in action, the fear has to dissipate into the nothingness that it always was? What would you do? How would life be different? How would the world be a better place to live? I came to challenge you to play in the biggest field you've ever played in. I came for you to challenge the fear that might be inside of you and to redesign and reprogram it. You look at it long enough, you be with it intimately enough, and it has to dissipate. You are the designer of your destiny. You are the author of your autobiography. You write the story of your life. No one can write your financial story. No one can write your spiritual story. No one can write your emotional story but you. The pen has always been in your hand. The pen has always been in your hand. I say write a story that's gonna be damn good to read. And when you do that, you will have to reprogram the fibers of your being. You will have to become someone you've never been before. You want to go somewhere you've never gone? You got to do something you've never done. You got to say something you've never said. You got to go to a place in you that you've never even been. You get to redesign. You are your Michelangelo. You are your greatest sculpture. And you get to recarve and you get to up-level as much as you need. You're not sentenced to this life this way. You chose it. Newsflash. You get to design it any way you choose. You're not sentenced to your future. You have an opportunity to your future. What do you want and how do you want it? And if it doesn't make you a little afraid, then you ain't playing big enough. Your knees are supposed to knock a little bit. Your teeth are supposed to chatter a little bit. There's supposed to be at least 2 butterflies in your stomach. At least. Because if not, you're playing inside your comfort zone. And we mistake the fact that we're supposed to be comfortable 24/7. Well, let me tell you something. Comfortable is equivalent to complacent. I'll choose inconvenience every day, any day, to make a difference on the planet. I don't mind being mildly to moderately to significantly inconvenienced to leave my fingerprint on this planet. So I just came to talk to the game changers and to the change agents who are willing to confront any part of you that's not speaking to your madly, wildly amazing future. Confront it. I came to talk to the change agents that are interested in evicting any fear that doesn't speak to your wild future. I came for that. I came for you to confront it, for you to get a little angry at it, for you to get a little pissed off at it, say, wait a minute. I've been letting you drive me all this time, and you are a story that I made up about the future that doesn't even really exist. When you said I might get hurt in the next relationship, you made up a story about the future that doesn't even exist yet. And you're powerful. And any story you make up is true to you, but it's only true to you. And then you live out that story because you want to be right. You don't want to be wrong, you want to be right. So you make up a story, you project it in the future, and then you live it out until it's true. Like, see, I told you guys. I told you guys. You'll like work really hard to make that story right. I just want you to know that. So I just stopped by to invite you to design a new story. I stopped by to remind you that the pen has always been in your hand, that no one else can write your story but you. And I don't know about you, but I want to write a story that when I get ready to sit down in my final years and there's nothing else I could do, that I go back and I just want to read my story. And I go, wow, I remember when I was afraid. And then I know on the next page, I jumped anyway. And then I read the next chapter and I go, whoa, that really scared the heck out of me. And I know what's going to happen on the next page. I did it anyway. God, I want to write a story full of leaping and running and jumping and serving and playing full out and falling and skinning my knees and scraping my face and hurting my heart. Because if that's the only way I can hurt and fall and scrape is to play full out, then I'll take the hurt. Because what I'm really afraid of and what you're really afraid of is getting to the end of your day, to the end of your life, and having something left to give.
Think, reflect, and change. There's no such thing as something for nothing. You gotta give in order to get. Some of the things, people, places, habits in your life right now, they are holding you back, numbing you instead of awakening you. And the first thing you need to give up is your comfort zone. There are lessons that no classroom or textbook can ever give you, and they come from things like an empty stomach, an empty bank account, and countless sleepless nights. It's just that real. The Bhagavad Gita talks about this. Your right, it's only to the work. Your right is only to the effort, the growth, not the fruit or the outcome. So control what you can, like an athlete who gives everything on the field, the warrior on the battlefield. Once your act is done, it's done and you move on. You can dream about it, or you can do it. It's not failure that you need to worry about, it's doubt, fear, anxiety. Be mindful of a little friend we all know called resistance. Resistance to doing the things you know you could. Resistance to leaving your friends behind and getting back to work. You need to turn these situations of tension into situations of profound peace. Focus on the work, not what dragons you think may or may not be beaten ahead. Are you a part-time player? Or are you a pro, playing all out, all in, showing up every single day, planning which goal is happening when, finding good teachers, developing yourself, committing your time, your energy, your efforts to growth every single day, staying quiet, humble, eliciting feedback so you can evolve, and letting go of what no longer serves you. I just don't want you to half-ass things anymore. I don't want you to wait around for the perfect time or perfect moment, because newsflash, there isn't one ever anywhere in your life. I want you to be totally committed and all in or not all. If you don't like a restaurant, leave. If the book you're reading is boring, close it. If the path isn't right, change direction. You are not a tree fixed with its roots in one place. Human beings, we have this unique ability to think, reflect, and change. But most of us have become like these dead, broken trees with no leaves. Our environment isn't right. We're not being nourished. We're alive, but we are not living anymore. We aren't stimulated anymore. We aren't fulfilling our path anymore. Those limits you think that are there, they exist only in your mind. And if you can just break free of inertia, of the illusory nature of the thoughts swirling and swaying inside you, I promise you, you can get to a better place. So think, reflect, and change. There's no limits, just levels. And your job is to constantly keep going beyond them over and over and over. We're talking about the evolution of your own soul, what has gone before you and lies ahead of you. It's tiny, minuscule compared to what is beaming and beating inside of you. Tap into that power. Tap into the spiritual strength inside. You're staring down at your feet when you have the starry heavens not just above, but inside you, beating with every breath, radiating the entire world around you. And mate, your universe, your identity, it exists in systems. Find it reflected there. So the books you read, the room you sleep in, the habit that starts your day, the friends you speak to, and the things that you throw your energy towards. What you feed yourself now, today, is who you will be tomorrow.
If you want to give up, you can give up. This is your choice. You can do whatever you want. Your time's gonna come, but you cannot give up.
See, you can do anything. You can get up any hour, read any book, take any class, make any change, develop any skill, do any discipline. I mean, you can do it all. When this how and the why, or when the why starts to grow, the how gets simple.
Life is an ocean of opportunities. But sometimes we find ourselves anchored to the safety of the shore, petrified to venture into the unknown. But it's in that unknown where you find true freedom. So how do you let go of the safety that's keeping you from the life of your dreams? You burn the ships.
Ultimate mindset says that I will do the work when I'm tired. I will do the work even if I'm sick. I will do the work even if I didn't sleep well. I will do the work even if I don't feel like it. I will do the work if it's cold outside. I will do the work if it's too hot. Because I am driven by purpose and duty while others are driven by pleasures and desires. And it is that fork in the road that separates the winners from the losers in life.
I want y'all to remember something. When a winner and a loser first start something, they both got the same goal. Right? I'm gonna say it again. When a winner and a loser first start something, they both got the exact same goal. When something first starts, but somewhere in the midst of the journey and the process, somebody looks at the outcome and somebody focuses on the strategies and the processes that it takes in order to drive the outcome.
Whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. Go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something. And to know that the consequences of not doing that are horrific.
When we burn the ships in our life, we also eliminate the option of retreat. We commit fully to our goals and dreams, no matter how scary they seem. When you burn your ships, you tap into a wellspring of inner strength and resilience you never knew you had. You look around and you see no other option but success.
You gotta get to a point where you locked in, God. You are locked into the process. And if you don't see nothing, if you don't see no results, you don't give up and you don't give in because you're not doing it for the goal. You're doing it because you are in love with the process.
Consistency of work. Monday, get better. Tuesday, get better. Wednesday, get better, right? And you do that over a period of time, not like 1 month or 2 months. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And then you can get to where you want to go.
Life isn't about what you have or being a have-none. It's about remembering the dreams that were in you as a little girl, as a little boy. Remember that you were born with a purpose, regardless of what happens to you. Regardless of what other people have said about you, you are gifted, you are qualified, you are wonderful, you are amazing. Every morning I want you to look in the mirror and have a conversation with your future self. You've already arrived, you've already won, you've already went back and changed your whole community, you changed the whole culture. What you are is a product in the making.
Nothing in life is easy. Nothing is going to be given to us. Nothing is going to stand on its own accord without proper preparation. Resilience in your life is the proper preparation. Now, whether you want to think about it or not, if you were to reflect on those times in your lives where things are seemingly falling down around you, everything was hard, everything was a struggle, when you got out of that and you look back from where you came from, you knew that it was in those spaces that shaped you, that allowed you to become the person that you are now. And everything cycles in life. Everything is going to be an up and a down, a light and a dark, hot and cold. That opposition in all things is necessary. But it's those of us who have resilience, it's those of us who will get up every time. Even when you fall down, flat on your face, it hurts, you're cut, you're bleeding, and we still get up.
It's not what you're capable of, it's what you're willing to do. I know plenty of people that are capable. I know fewer people that are willing. Will is a powerful thing. Ask yourself, what are you willing to do?
Life is not a series of uninterrupted successes and joyful moments. Instead, life is marked by challenges, setbacks, and moments of incredibly hard defeats. I mean defeats as in failures. During these times of darkness and despair, our true character can be forged and our inner true strength can be revealed. Will you surrender to despair, or will you rise, phoenix-like, from the ashes of your circumstances?
How can you become the person that you wish to be unless you live the life that you wish not to live? How can you be brave unless you felt fear? How can you be strong unless you were once weak?
Hey, guess what? It's going to be the hardest thing you ever did. Along the way, you're going to lose all your fucking friends. You're going to struggle. You're going to make mistakes. There's going to be multiple fucking days where you don't think that you're going to make it. And those days sometimes last for months. Nobody's going to relate to you. No one's going to understand why you're doing it. And I'm going to tell you this. They might laugh at you now. Everybody laughed at me back in the day. Guess who's laughing now? Me.
Remember that. Relish in it. Get it all over you. Reflect in these moments. Because the trials are what make you great. The trials are what forge you into tempered steel that is unbreakable and unbendable. It's these moments. Embrace them.
If you do the thing in spite of being fearful of doing the thing, that is courage. And if you don't do the thing, even though you felt like doing the thing, that is cowardice.
When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person that walked into it. That's what the storm is all about. When you can't control what's happening to you, control how you respond to it. That's where your power is.
You're going to work hard and nothing's going to happen. You're going to give it your all and nothing's going to happen. You're going to pour your heart out into it and nothing is going to happen. And the hardest part is that it might go on for weeks, months, years even. And you might sit there wondering, when is this going to pay off? How much more do I have to bear? How much longer do I have to walk? You look at the world and say, you said 1 more lap 3 laps ago. You said 2 more reps 5 reps ago. But you must endure. You say, I can't make it to that next corner. I gotta walk 1 more street light. My legs might give out if I give this 1 more step. but you must endure.
Consistency is not the problem, it's the discipline. Making the choice to do the thing that is going to serve you in the long term rather than what's going to serve you right now. Delayed gratification, discipline. Everybody's consistent. Most people are just consistent in the wrong things.
But I'll tell you a secret. If your dreams go too long without becoming a reality, they slowly morph into nightmares of what could have been. And we all know people, this is true, who they firmly believe that their best days are behind them and that their future is dimmer than their past. And that's a terrible way to live. But what I'll tell you is the only way to turn your dreams into reality is to combine it with action. So it's not just about thinking big. That's great, that's a first step. But then you have to act big. If you want to live the life of your dreams, you have to act big.
In the midst of the storm, a lot of people feel like, man, I lost this. I lost that. But when you come out of the storm, the perspective that you gain, the person that you have become, right? The happiness that you gain, the joy, the peace that you gain, right? You always gain something in spite of what you consider to be a loss.
You have to take that time. You have to earn that shot, earn that opportunity. And when you earn it, you'll make the most of it because you put in the work, you wrote down the goals, you made it a part of your discipline, and now it's a part of your fiber. You're cut from a different cloth. Don't allow yourself to be draped around something that can't appreciate you. You're expensive. It costs a hell of a lot to make you. Don't sell yourself cheap.
You're having a hard time. Well, guess what? Everybody has hard times. You, me, and everybody else. We all deal with shit that we'd rather not be dealing with. And there's two kinds of people that have hard times. There's the kind of people who go through hard times and then eventually they find their way to prosperity. And there's people who have hard times and just stay there and spin their wheels in the hard times for the rest of their lives. And it's one simple thing that decides which one of those people you're going to be. And it's this. The people who go on to prosper stop when they're having the hard time and they ask themselves a very simple question. What is this situation supposed to teach me? And then when they find the answer to that, they apply that lesson moving forward. And the people who wallow, and the people who become victims, and the people who suffer their entire lives don't do that. So do it.
See, the only time that we realize how far we can go is when we push beyond that limit that we stopped at before. You are capable of so much more than you realize, but you stop short because your mind tells you to stop, but your body can go on for more and more. You are capable, and when your body gives out, your mind wants to go on for longer. You are the one in control. You are the one who has the power to say, I want to stop here or I want to keep going.
Put down your why. It's what will motivate you when you don't feel like it. Days in the gym will come and go and you'll feel like, I've done enough, I'm too sore. I'm still not over an injury. There will be days where you feel like not getting up and going because motivation isn't always there. But you have to absolutely talk to yourself and convince yourself that your why is big enough to give you the passion, to get over the pain, to get on with the plan. And then you got to get over your old excuses.
That happiness and success is available for every last one of you. But I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna change your mindset. If you're planning on being successful, you have to change this here. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is right here. It ain't no difference. It ain't none. I ain't got no more than none of y'all got. God gave me the same thing he gave y'all. But you have got to change your mindset.
If you want to become the best version of who you are supposed to be, risk is required. Period.
Whatever success means to you, properly define it, but always look at it in terms of, do I love what I do? Do I know what I'm doing? If opposition and adversity happens, will I still believe in what I'm doing? Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? Can you be committed to it in the midst of opposition, in the midst of adversity? Because if you can be committed to it in the midst of opposition, in the midst of adversity, now you can believe in it. So when it goes wrong and it doesn't play in your favor, you can still believe in what you're doing and you're not gonna run. Love what you're doing, know what you're doing, but above all, believe in what you're doing, man.
Practice makes improvement. You can always better your best. You can always go beyond anything that you have ever done. You'll never hit a state of perfection. You're always bigger than what you do. And so all you're looking for are new breakthroughs through practice and practice and practice. You'll get better and better and better.
You become a drifter in life. In other words, you are like a rudderless ship. You are not going under your own power. You are letting the currents of life, of circumstance, of the opposition determine how you feel, how you think, what you experience.
I think it's believing in the 85-year-old version of you, who's exactly who you want to be, and then ruthlessly looking at the discrepancy between the pittance of a human that you are now compared to that man or that woman, and then step by step breaking down the many differences and starting on the first one and pulling the thread.
The idea that self-love is holding yourself to a higher standard than anyone else does, you believing in you more than anybody else does.
No matter what tragedy we go through, we are still great. We are still magnificent. We are still significant. You must remember who you are and whose you are. Don't allow the tragedy that happened around you be the reason you quit believing that you could do great things. We are more than what happens to us. We are.
Move on. Straight up, move on. Forget them.
Lay hold of it. You lay hold of it. And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Some of you are so ignorant. You've been through so much hell. You gonna quit now? You should have quit 10 years ago. You should have been quit. You don't quit now. It's the 10th round. You got 2 more to go. And when you get to success, it's not about skill. When you get to a certain level of success, it's about stamina. It's about stamina. It's about you won't break me. You can't take me. I fought too long. I fought too hard.
As life unfolds, life comes at you with so much. There's gonna be certain seasons in life to where you're in a season of just enduring. You just gotta endure right now, right? Whatever you're going through, sometimes you're in that season of, man, it's time to endure. Those things are necessary so you can become a different version of yourself and you can grow and learn from these experiences. So one day you can go back when somebody else is going through something and you can share them.
But in terms of you framing acceptance as saying that I am comfortable with who I am and I cannot be better and I must be satisfied with that, is the biggest embodiment of failure that I can imagine. There's a difference between saying I am good enough and I am good. So you could say I am good enough for my current state based on the work that I've put into it, but I could be better. You can accept that the work that you have done has created the outcome that you've created. But you do not need to accept that the outcome that you've created is the end-all be-all and the last outcome that you need to have. but deep down you know that something more is for you. And that's the risk. And as scary as it can be, as terrifying as the leap may seem, that risk, the edge of where you are and where you can go, is where life begins. That space is where you feel alive. That voice that's calling out from inside of you, it may not be the voice of encouragement. It may be the voice that says, stay where you are. We're comfortable here. And it will give you every reason and sell you every clause of why it makes more sense to stay. And the place where you can go, the version of you that awaits, it won't say a word.
Can you sustain the failure, the opposition, and the challenges? Because the one thing I can guarantee, you're gonna get hit with opposition and adversity, Doc. I don't care how cute you are, I don't care how strong you are, I don't care how nice you are, it's coming to see you. I don't care how grand your dreams and your goals are, it's coming to see you. I don't care how nice of a person you are, it's coming to see you. I don't care how motivated you are, it's coming to see you. That's why it says adversity causes some cats to break and other cats to break records.
There are those who will depend upon you. So make the promise that I will truly live. All I can tell you is this, that the promise to live is a promise to be great.
%50 of men and women cannot or will not look at themselves in the mirror because they are either disgusted or disappointed with where they are in life. And if you cannot look at yourself in the mirror, that is an act of self-rejection. That is an act of self-criticism. That is an act of self-hatred. That's not just a casual thing you're doing. The rest of us that can look at ourselves, what we do when we look at ourselves is we focus on the things we need to fix. For most women, putting on makeup is not additive. It's not a creative expression. It's covering something up that you don't like. And for so many men, if it's not about your appearance, it's about where you are in life, the mistakes that you've made. That action, that intention behind it is self-rejection.
I know a lot of you out there, you've lost your voice. And I want to speak to you to tell you that even if you decide from hearing from others that they told you that you cannot speak or what you say doesn't matter, you can still speak. I know you can speak because I was speaking all throughout my life inside of me.
A wise person once said, "What surprises me most about humankind is that we get bored of our childhood, rush to grow up, and long to be children again. That we lose our health to make money, and then lose our money to restore our health. That by thinking anxiously about the future, we forget the present."
Who are you? Are you the one who endures? Let's find out. And when you find out that you can endure longer than you thought before, amazing things happen. You realize how powerful you truly are.
Do I have weakness? I am nothing but weakness. I'm not naturally strong or fast or flexible. I'm certainly not the smartest person in the world. I get emotional over stupid things. I eat the wrong foods. I don't sleep enough. I procrastinate and I waste time. I care too much about meaningless things and not enough about important things. My ego is too big. My mind is too small, often trapped inside itself. Now, all that being said, I have a saying. A person's strength is often their biggest weakness, but their weaknesses can become strengths.
Input determines output. Output determines outlook. Outlook determines outcome. Outcome determines destiny.
I want to talk to you if you're going through things in your life. I want to ask you, what are you telling yourself? What are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself it's all happening to me and it's because why is it happening to me? What did I do wrong? Are you talking to yourself about how it's all happening to you? I wanted to ask you this because it all happened to me as well. And throughout the whole journey, I asked one question to myself every time, every day, every minute. I asked, what am I supposed to learn from all of these things that are happening to me? What is the lesson? Why is this happening to me and what should I learn from it? Are you doing that? Because I tell you, because that's how you get out of what's happening to you. When you ask, why is it happening to me and what am I supposed to learn? Because when you learn from it, you can use it as your superpower to overcome anything that happens to you after that. So I'm asking you, are you asking yourself this?
Once you make that first cold call, you're likely to keep going. Once you start writing that first sentence on this chapter, you're going to keep writing. Once you hit record on that video, you're going to keep going. Once you fill out the first name, last name line on the application you need to fill out, you're going to keep going. Once you pull up your resume template and you start writing, you're going to keep going. Because the problem isn't your ability to do what you need to do. I say every day that it is never too late to wake up and be the person you want to be. And you deserve that. And here's the truth on how you do that. You have to act like you believe in yourself before you believe in yourself. I'm going to say that again. You want to learn how to stop doubting yourself? You want to learn how to believe in yourself again? You want to learn how to not be so afraid or full of doubt? Because again, you have to act like you believe in yourself before you do believe in yourself. So let me just make this super, super detailed for you. When you wake up tomorrow morning and you sit down in that chair, you are acting like you believe in yourself.
When you endure, you show others what's possible. When you continue on and push when you are tired and you feel like your tank is on empty, you inspire and leave a legacy. Leaving that legacy of what humans are capable of. See, it's not about you. It's about everyone that comes after you. It's about the person to your left and the right that needs an example. You are that example, and you become that example because you can endure. You can endure the pain, I promise you can. You can endure the hate, I promise you can. Because when you show that your character is still intact in those moments when you have every reason to abandon it, that right there, my friend, is greatness. You have that greatness within you. You have the greatness to endure. Now go get it.
Constant vision of what it is you want to achieve, see it accomplished, and go all out, find a way to win. Dr. Norman Cousins, he wrote a book called The Biology of Hope, and he talked about the fact that when something happens to you, you don't deny it, you defy it. And I was defiant that I'm going to beat this, I'm going to handle this, that there are people who many times when something happens to them, that they embrace it from a place of fear and it takes them out. And L.C. Robinson said, things may happen to you and things may happen around you, but the most important things are the things that happen in you. And you have to stand up inside yourself and deal with it and handle it. Get out from under the labels. And the most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe that I can do it. When you don't know what's impacting you, and it's something that that's holding you down and you're not aware of it. You live in a dominant culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self and your belief in yourself, and you have to learn ways in which you can begin to connect with this power that you have within yourself to handle where you are. The key is to be constantly in a perpetual process of discovering the truth of who you are and fighting constantly to look for ways in which you can escape the inner conversation, because how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. So that's an ongoing process, constantly interrupting that conversation, what psychologists call your self-explanatory style, because life is going to beat up on you in so many ways, and many things, they come back, negative thoughts and how you feel about yourself, they don't die. They come back once you stop doing the maintenance work on your mind, listening to motivational messages, going to seminars and workshops, spending time quietly listening to the still small voice within. Who am I really? Is this really me? Am I giving my best? Am I just reflecting what's around me? Because all of these various things affect how we show up in life. And so having a strategy to continuously find ourselves reaching higher. Robert Schuller had a book, is not very popular, but I loved it. It's called Peak to Peak, U-P-E-A-K to P-E-E-K, because you're constantly reaching higher to find out and discover your better self. Richard Wright said it best. He said, the impulse to dream has slowly been beaten out of me through the experiences of life. So when you live in a culture that is designed to destroy your sense of self, where you are marginalized, where you have a feeling of being hopeless and powerless, and you're terrorized, you unconsciously operate within the parameters of what has been put in place. Like you're driving on the expressway, the 405, and you'll get off on an exit that you weren't going in that direction, but you unconsciously did it because you've done it so many times that many people, because they're not making a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to think outside of what life has thrown at them, they end up doing the same thing over and over and over again. Einstein said that thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And so through relationships, through reading, through studies, through goals and dreams beyond your comfort zone, it allows you to begin to live out of your imagination as opposed to out of your history. Disney said, the imagination is a preview of what's to come. I believe that all of us have a responsibility that we want to live a life that will outlive us. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. And so someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. If you want to become successful in life, number one, you got to change your mindset. He said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number two, practice OQP, only quality people. Develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Those are three major things that you want to work on that will liberate you. It will help to escape out of where you are right now, because I see you watching me and I know you want more. I can see the hunger. You get hungry by finding something that's you. I believe that all of us are born unique, but most of us die copies. You got to find out what is it that turns you on, what resonates with you. The key to that hunger-driven life is a heart-centered life. I didn't do what I'm doing for years because of my programming, because of the culture in which I was raised in. I would see other people with degrees and PhDs and MBAs and credentials I don't have, and I convinced myself I couldn't do it. Not only someone's opinion of you does not have to determine your reality. He said that you have to work on yourself and you have to have an unstoppable attitude, and no excuse is acceptable, and you've got to make it a priority, a non-negotiable in your life, and hold a constant vision of what it is you want to achieve. See it accomplished and go all out. Find a way to win. In spite of the setbacks, in spite of the disappointments, in spite of your failures. I tell people, you will fail your way to success. I have a saying, is life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
Every passing minute is another chance to turn it all around.
We gave meanings to the experiences of our life, or other people gave meanings to the experiences that we were having. What you believe will dictate your thoughts on a moment-by-moment basis. And then that emotion then dictates what actions you do or do not take. And they're always aligned, right? Your beliefs dictate your thoughts, dictate your emotions, dictate your actions, which produce your results. And your results, when you look at them, then just reinforce the original belief. That which we tend to pay attention to is aligned with what we believe, and so that's all we get. So if you want, more happiness, if you want more wealth, if you want deeper relationships, if you want to have more joy, you want to have more fun, you want to achieve your full potential and really make an impact in the world, then what's really important is to get clear on what that could look like for you, and to make sure that what you believe is congruent with that outcome. Because if what you believe is not congruent with that outcome, just neurophysiologically, you're working against yourself. Clarity is intimately connected to imagination. So as we're getting clear on something, we're beginning to see what that thing is that we're getting more clarity on. If you're willing to invest time in getting clearer around something or imagining, you build neural networks that represent the memory of an experience that has not happened yet.
Step away from that fear and begin to see that there's wonder and beauty and opportunity all around. It begins to activate the part of your brain that's full of imagination, creativity, and beauty. We are meaning machines. We not only give meaning to meaningless things, we make meaningful things meaningless.
But the moment your mind is under the law of generosity, growth, development, unfolding, giving, compassion, kindness, radiance, the moment that happens, you come under the right use of the law. The moment you realize you're here to give something, then all thoughts of not enoughness and lack, and limitation, fear, doubt, worry, and separation begin to dissolve. And your premise every single day of your life is, I am, and I've got it all. I am, I've got it all. Your destiny begins to unfold, because you're not here to get from the world. You're not here to get, you are here to let, and walk in that awareness even before it manifests, even before you can see it.
You gotta find a story that's gonna empower you to act. Complexity is the enemy of execution. The more complex you make it, the less likely you're gonna execute. If you're creative enough, can you find the answer, yes or no? If you're determined enough, can you find the breakthrough, yes or no? If you're passionate, loving enough, can you get someone to help you, yes or no? If there's no way that you're committed, can you find the money even if you don't have it, yes or no? So I said creativity, decisiveness, passion, honesty, sincerity, love. These are the ultimate human resources. And when you engage these resources, you can get any other resource on earth.
Start small. Show yourself that you can give yourself one command and one follow through.